Good morning. Let's go for the discussion of writing for the mass media. Uh, so, when we talk about the writing for the mass media, we find out that it is a very interesting one and it touches every aspect of media writing. Um, Generally, when we talk about mass media, we refer to the different types of mm, information that we share among the audience, whether we talk about the newspaper or you talk about television, radio, um, or you talk about any kind of a source that gives the information to the public or the people. Um, Interestingly, the core purpose of the mass media as an institution is writing and disseminating information. It's called as spreading information. So, therefore, if we talk about the this particular course is indicating to the central to media success, as this unit is central to understanding the entire course from the root. This unit introduces you to the definition of basic concepts with the um, complete view of what constitute the mass media and their means peculiarities or their uses. So let's go for the next one, which is called as a definition of the mass media. So when we talk about the mass media, we find out that the mass media have come out in a contemporary society as one of the powerful institutions for societal change and development. So we know that means how people are guided. People are guided on the basis of the day-to-day news that they find out from the source called as a television or newspaper, or called as a from the source social networking sites, whether that's a Facebook or a Twitter or a means any other social networking sites. That's also called as a blog. Generally, writers write it, and we while we surf it in the internet, we find out them and we read it, and on the basis of that we are guided. So we consider that mass media have considered the one of the powerful institutions for societal change and development. Rationally, or logically, or ideally, if you see that the mention of mass media influence mental pictures of radio, television, newspaper, magazines, like I pointed. They constitute the channels through which information surrounds for enlightenment and education of the public. Basically, it means that the mass media writers are in the primary business of information gathering, writing, and dissemination. So, Yo, in the year of 1987, so who points out that the deeper understanding of the nature of the mass media is what essential for writing effectively for the mass media. Uh, DeFleur Dennis, who quoted by Yo, defined mass media as devices for moving messages across distance and time to successfully completed mass communication. Black and Harrelson also mentioned. So who are they are actually? Black and Harrelson, Dennis, DeFleur, Yo. These are the authors who have pointed their ideas means indicating towards the mass media, and what they refer to the mass media as a technical vices through which mass communication take place. So, if I tell you the practical ideas, what do you find out the practical ideas? Like, means we know that the mass media refers to the television, radios, or newspaper magazines. But have you ever been thought about like people who work behind them, how much effort they are giving to it? So what kind of things they supposed to do? Let's talk about that a television, right? So where you will find out that the person who is a news reader, so he has not just sit uh, behind the camera. or called as before the camera. So he reads the news, he collects the information, he doesn't read the news means in a kind of a hay manner or called as a careless manner. He reads it means which of the news people like it, which of the news is presenting with the serious issues, which of the news is vital, and what are the points means one has to gather in the news so that the people would like to listen, and also people would get the truth. So for that, the person who is sitting before the camera, so uh, he is not simply reading the news, but to understand and also presenting those of the things which are true, and also means those which are on the basis of the evidence, and he notes them all, and those of the things he or she read it. Um, Similar to that, those of the information means how did she or he get it? Now, from the other people who are also working in the field, right? Those who move to different places, so they gather the information, they share it to the journalist, they share it to the you can say that writers or columnists or authors, so who write for the newspaper or for the magazine, who read before the radio. So what kind of means means effort they are giving. So if we talk about that, mass media is a powerful source which is using through the technical source, um, and through that it produces or it sends a kind of a communication um, before the you can talk about before the public, isn't it? So next is the mass media, therefore, what do we consider? The mass media, therefore, have the nature of being easily noticed, right? So that is the reason um, people get the news means of the whether it's a cyclone, whether it's a means any kind of a war related information, or called as a weather related information, or means health related information. So they all get means through the different sources, which is referring to the mass media. So the mass media therefore have the nature of being easily noticed. So that is what day to day means need. They process the nature of being outspoken. So it's something called as outspoken. Outspoken means something which is very vast, and giving a lot of information. It is also in their nature and character to always be in a hurry. So means you would find out that each and every particular things that happen in a moment, so can be found it which is or are called as a serious issues, you would find out in the circulated in the television or called as a social medias, right? They are publicist in nature. So publicist in nature means believing in spreading the ideas means in the society. So characteristically, the mass media are what? Naturally open to public service. So that is the public service. Like you talk about that these journalists or editors or writers or means anchors or called as a news reader, what they do actually means they do the service for the public. That is the element of commercialization and profit making should not be pushed to the extreme in regards to the mass media. We shall not consider that their job is to simply means earn money, right? So also the mass media are institutions that are both generalist and specialist. So it is the mass media is also considering as the institution that are both generalist and specialist. Generalist means what? Relating to the general people, and also special people, like what? Those who want to join in the mass media, join in the kind of a service, right? For them also, they have uh, created the kind of an institution or university where so means people interest to join and also study. That is, at any point in time, media presentations must have something for groups and individuals, right? So media presentation must have something for groups and individuals means what? Now let's talk about it. Means um, anyone who have a kind of a knowledge, right, or who have gone through the kind of a course and means who have studied it, so could make the job means of speaking or before the camera or writing for the newspaper or writing for the magazines. So means can be possible, isn't it? So at any point in time, media presentation must have something for groups and individuals. So it is not only for the means individual purpose; it is also for the groups. Like you talk about, you go to attend a meeting where you talk with the different people in a group or different people in an individual. So these people actually means the journalists or writers or anchors. So what they means what they present actually, what they show, they show the character of being independent. So you know that mass media is considered as the independent institution which must be upheld by the polity if the mass media are to serve as the last hope of the common man and the voice of the voiceless, right? So you would find out that means it is completely different from the kind of activities politicians do. It is the kind of activities that the other parts of the society do. So the main job of the mass media is to what means speak the truth and make it like open. Message types presented in the mass media include. So even means um, it is one of the activities, or there are many other activities that you would find out also here, like message, sending messages, right? Awaiting people that what is happening around them and what are the things means important for the public. So all those things are said through the different media. Like you talk about mass media, so you talk about the news story. This is a straight. So let's talk about that news story. So what does news story point out here? This is a straight, formal, objective, balanced, accurate, and timely account of a factual event. Let's when we talk about that, the anchors or journalists or writers or means story makers, or you talk about means a person when he or she starts writing a news story to publish in the newspaper or to read before the camera. So how does he means write the news story? So news stories are what? Now, news stories are nothing but straight, formal, objective, balance. Straight means you find out that. Let's take the example of one of the incident occurred of robbery, or you talk about accidents, or you talk about theft, or you talk about kind of a murder or criminal activities, right? Or you talk about means any kind of a matter related to the means like praising any issues or called as elaborating any issues. So any official gathering or called as a means any matter which is or which are pointing to you can say that pointing to what do you say that yeah, any protest also. So all these things are kind of news stories for the means writers or for the anchors, and how they supposed to write, that they're supposed to come up with the means straight ideas and presenting with the formal, like it, they do not mention anything what comes out from them, like what is their opinion, what is their judgment. So they don't think about that. They only write what once happens and what the people are telling about it. So their writing in the news story is a straight, formal, means polite in nature, objective. So what is the main focus? Means what the people want, what the means government does, and means how it relates to the benefit of the society. So that's what they mention in the news story. So I'll just show you some of the examples of the news story that you find out in the newspaper, um, means on the front page of it, or when the whole newspaper is nothing but the used with the one articles or columns of the news stories. So this is a straight, formal, objective, balanced. So they maintain means neutral ideas. They do not mention any kind of a statement which will harm to the means other part of the society or any part of the society that may be not defamed to the government or called as degrade the reputation of the government or called as that do not also means harm to the people's sentiment. So, and whatever they write accurate and timely account of a factual event. So, here the five W's and HR emphasized at the very beginning of the story as quick as possible. So they quickly means presents all those ideas and present before the means writers. Now you can see that what happened yesterday you would find out in the today's newspaper. What happened some time ago you would find out in the television news channel. So the next one is called as a news analysis. So we find out news stories. Um, what are the things they follow in a news stories? So uh, they write the news story straight, formal, objective, balanced, accurate, right? So next is called as a news analysis. How do they analyze the news? This can be described as a less objective assessment of the issues in the news. That is, breaking down of news events in order to highlight the important points. So they do not mention everything like from A to Z, like from the beginning to end. They only mention those of the things which are essential. It is an attempt to explain for better understanding the events that make headlines. Entertaining features that entertain may also inform. Commercial messages that also persuade or request may also entertain. The difficulty of writing or communicating through the mass media is the lack of immediate feedbacks from audience. So the mass media writer does not have that opportunity. So you would find out that means when we go for the news analysis, what do we find out? Means let's say that means any accident occurred between the bus and the train, right? So how that means when the when you find out that the barriers are put means as it was the time of train to leave the stations at the same time means all the means all the you can say that all the people who waited behind the barrier. So means at the same time there was a bus immediately means break the barrier and try to enter. So it was because of the kind of you could say that break fail of that bus. So means so they did not try to the journalist or the news analyst. So do not mention everything about it. So they simply write like the headline means how the bus met an accident or how the bus break the barriers and collide with the train and stated about how many people injured, how many people died. So they write those of the important details. So it is an attempt to explain for better understanding the events that make headlines. Entertaining features. So first you find out, the headlines which is written in a bold letter. After that, they try to explain it. Whatever they have written in the headlines will justify. Entertaining features that entertain may also inform. So whether you talk about news stories related to the accident or called as entertaining or called as a commercial messages means any message which is used for the selling or buying clothes or called as you talk about any kind of um, 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 opportunity, career opportunities, or means job opportunities, which are also means you highlight in the newspaper or presented in the means uh, TV channels, or news channels. The difficulty of writing or communicating through the mass media is the lack of immediate feedback from your audience. So, but the negative side you would find out that means people do not communicate immediately after, right? Immediately after any news source is presented. The mass media writer doesn't have that opportunity. Okay, next. So messenger. So we will go one after another. Mm, yep. In writing for others through the mass media, you must be acutely conscious of your own perspectives. You must be aware that some words may be means sharply conscious of your own perspectives. You must be aware that some words may have different meanings to others. Look at what you have written to see whether you have examined all the ways others might view it. This is a particular problem sometimes for public relations. People who have to write a release that will be approved by top management but pass the careful scrutiny of news editors who routinely look out for missing or misleading information. The mass media audiences are diverse. Your writing style must be accessible to all, and at the same time, you must not forget that certain types of readers and listeners or viewers expect certain types of write ups. On the sports page, for example, your style must be appropriate for sports enthusiasts, but clear enough to be understood by more casual readers. Now, what does messenger say? Means like that you are a means writer and you are writing means of a who are going to read it. So, and what are your perspective or future goal, or what are your goals actually, right? So that you must be sharply understood, right? Acutely conscious of your own perspective, right? That your words means may means may may make somebody what carry with the negative emotion and carry with the positive emotions. So that's why suitable words must be used in your content. Um, some words may have different meanings to others, right? Like you talk about certain words that are different meaning to others means what that they take it in a different manner, right? And they understood on the basis of the content in a different. So that is why when you are writing any kind of means articles or stories or called as sports information, so or called as any kind of means entertainment related information, you have to examine each and everything, right? So normally what happened, that is what a kind of a problem between the journalist with the public, right? um, and generally what happened when you write something, and means uh, that's what have been checked by the top management, right? Because they carefully observe like what the news editors means will read it, and what the means what's supposed to be put in the newspaper, right? The mass media audiences are diverse, right? So because people means come out from the tribal, people come out from the rural, people come out from the urban area, people come out from the elite society or educated society. So they all have a different understanding. So your writing or your information means accessible to all. At the same time, means we must not forget that those of the types of means readers and listeners or viewers means expect what certain types of means writing. On the sports page, for example, your style must be apt or appropriate for sports, interesting, yet clear enough to be understood by more casual readers. Next, another important thing to note is the level of abstraction. So abstraction means called as a short, short information, right? Um, Another important thing to note is the level of abstraction. Words with the means a clear reference are said to be abstracts, right? Which are directly giving the message. The further away means you get from the specific, the less sure you can be that someone will know what you are writing about. Write about a man and not a man. Right, write about a man and not a man means man is referring to singular, whereas man is referring to plural. So you are not writing for a means all the people. You are writing for a individual one. So and where you are writing for the all the people as a generic information means not about a specific individual. So you understand means generic, specific means sad or mournful or called as a kind of a death or called as a laziness, happiness. So all these things you must understand generic and specific. Also important in this regard is context. So what kind of a context you are presenting? Like I already told you that sad happiness or called as a kind of a death ceremony or a kind of a birth means a kind of a marriage ceremony of a means a popular um, means a sports star or a celebrity. So the word surrounding a word help to explain it. So the meaning never resides in the words alone. Right? Context also helps explain a word that might be unfamiliar to your audience. Right? So generally what happened, sometimes words, right, people do not understand. But there are people also who do not know certain context. So certain context means like as a English um, honor students, you are familiar with the literature, but you are not familiar with the kind of things called as a microbiomes, microbiology, or called as a means C, C++, computer related information technology. So if the articles come out from them, so you are unfamiliar to that and you do not understand. So therefore, means uh, what not only explain, right, but also the context that that is very important and that is unfamiliar. Sometimes what happened unfamiliar to the audience, a certain means context or certain subject types. Technically, we characterize the mass media as the institutionalized running records of a society. So institutionalized running records of a society means we consider mass media job is nothing but means providing uh, information to the society, which we have discussed already. The representation of the day-to-day going on of social process is filtered through the apparatus of the mass media writers. The mass media are a writing profession, and all media writers are expected to write. So obviously, people are means working in a variety of means industries, and you would find out mass media um, is referring to the means a kind of a institution, right? So where people work for sharing information or means their job is to what means spreading the means issues happen in the society. So the not only the issues but also the other important or vital information. the mass media are a writing profession. So writing profession means what? Obviously, if a means news is uh, read or called as a news is published, or a story is written, or a story is shared, or a story is published, or story is means spread through the blog, or story is spread through the Facebook or social networking sites. What do you find out? One has to write that. So mass media are a writing profession, and all media writers are expected to write. Writing is the ability to put pen and paper in order to express an idea or share a meaning with your readers. So, means what you write, so your audience must understand. To be good at it, a media writer should be able to develop notes for information, right? Notes for information means a hunt for information, arrange the information in a logical, coherent, and interesting way that that is suitable to the message's purpose, to the audience, and to the medium. Furthermore, this expectation to write places a lot of challenges on the media writer, who must hone his or her writing skills in order to be relevant to the contemporary society. So, if we talk about this means mass media job, mass media work, so what the people of mass media do, now they always engage themselves with the pen and paper, right? So they look at the details, they arrange the information, they hunt for the information. So they understand that if they write certain notes, so then how they are logical, or called as what are the cause, what are the means effect, what are the means region, what are the result. So means how means one paragraph means coherent with the other paragraphs, how the story begin, how the story end. So furthermore, this expectation to write places a lot of challenges on the media writer, because they also look at the all other sides. Means this would not hurt the sentiment, or this would make their writing beautiful. This should be accepted by their management, right? So places a lot of challenges on the media writer, who must hone his or her writing skills in order to be relevant to the contemporary society. So let's see that the following are the silent points of the definition that needs elaboration. Elaboration means what? When you start writing, means any information. So what the mass media follows in that. So you know that the mass media, the first thing is called as the mass media are an institution. So its function are for societal good. Um, So its functions means the mass media, the institution. So its functions are for social good. The ability to write is fundamental to media success. Ability to write means whatever means information means they share before the public. So what they do, they use with the pen and paper and write. So and so that's why you could say that the ability to how good you are writing, how means you play with the words in your content, means how better you communicate with the means audience, simply point out your success. The media deals with the documentation, so your writing must not be means so mass media people, when they write certain things, so they always come up with the evidence, right? So that's what is very essential. Because without any evidence, if you write some certain things, that can demand the legal proceedings, isn't it? So now let's go for the challenges of mass media writing. So when you go for the certain jobs, you find out the kind of difficulties or challenges. Um, so everything written for the media has to work. Means whatever is written for the purpose of sharing to the public must have uh, come up with success, or you have wasted your time and someone's money and time as well, because you write something and you have taken the time for that, and somebody will read it again and will pay for that. So uh, if like let's say in today's day you would find out the newspaper come up with um, uh, lots of information, but um, there are some newspapers also means that come up with means lots of advertisements and other means what do you say that Mm, other information which are not even means needed to the society to know, right? Let's say that instead of bringing the development of the nation, development of the state, so they've come up with the kind of mm, uh, information like criminal activities a lot are called as mm, mm, what do we say that like which star birthday has done and who came, who did not. So such kind of information are called as means unnecessary, not required. So uh, and that's why what happened, people get sometime means give a very bad criticism towards them. A professional media writer must master the language. So that's what I say, that one has to play with the words and peculiarity of all the media. Challenges arise for you as a media writer in these three areas. Mm, so first thing is called as a message. You have to consider the kind of a message you are presenting, isn't it? So and on the basis of that, you write accordingly. A straight news report is not written in quite the same way as an in-depth analysis. So you can't get the kind of headings. Um, mm, so until unless you know the whole information, isn't it? Uh, so also a news or press release is different from a feature, and both are quite different from advertorials. News or press release, like news, certain information which is presented before the media, right? So sorry, presented before the public through the medium of called as television or through the medium of newspaper, different from a feature, and both are quite different from advertorials. Commercial messages have more in common with editorial because they too are persuasive. Persuasive means what they uh, when you find out that any endorsement occurs of jewelry or called as mm, you talk about mm, um, matrimonial or called as a job related. So they have been given with the kind of content which are useful or which are used to means attract or called as a motivate or means convince. But like the different apples of editorials, commercial messages make particular apple based on purpose. So let's say that if you want to get a too late or called as a seller a house, so in that case, the purpose is what how people will get attracted to it. Problem occurs in understanding how to alter that, having something to say, how to say it. So generally, people face the problem like how do they mm, uh, um, present their ideas before the people so that um, people will come forward and contact them, and how to say in it, how to say it. In trying to deliver the message, a news story written to inform is more likely to be read through to the end if it is also right. Next is called as a editorial commentary. Editorial or commentary. An editorial comment is the official stand of a media organization concerning a typical issue. The editorials and commentaries are usually given prominently in the media. So, editorial comment is the official stand of a media organization means if certain writings, right, uh, we talk about that editorial section in the newspaper, right, where they present certain kind of issues, certain kind of means opinions. So what they think about the political issues or sports related issues, or called as um, uh, social structure, judicial system. So they give their kind of a means information. So it is the official stand of a media organization. So and concerning a particular typical issues which are vital, right? And they're usually given prominent play or main play in the media. The next one is like look at the Times of India. If you go to the Times of India, you would find out in the middle of it, you would find out the editorial section is given. And in that editorial section, so uh, some of the means topmost writers or a columnist or journalist, they write on a particular issue. So, editorial or commentary, advertising or commercials. So these are called as some points that you're supposed to keep in your mind while you are um, going for short questions, or if with a long question, you can elaborate these other things. Advertising or commercials. So what advertising or commercials mean here? These are materials that must be paid for before they are printed or aired. So advertising or commercials are not like a free of cost, right? So somebody who is advertising for the kind of a mm, topic called as a mm, job related, or called as a, like I say, um, um, endorsing jewelry or um, products on the kind of things called as grocery items. Like you could see that in the newspaper, we find out the um, big bazaar show, a big bazaar, a big advertisement, or called as a matrimonial sites advertisement. So these are the materials that must be paid. So those of the things are generally what happened. Um, uh, Given for publishing, and for that they pay the huge amount for it. um, the Why those of the things are given? Because people come to know about that and people move to that place. The word advertisement is more in use in print media, just as commercials are popular among broadcast media. So advertisement come under means of advertisement, or commercials are coming under print media, just as commercials. So print media means pictures are given, right? Small highlighting words are given. So commercials are popular among broadcast media. So feature article. These are the feature articles means what? These are less time conscious presentation of the mass media. Although they are timely and typical, they are usually presented in relaxed atmosphere. That is, it is written with a mental picture of the relaxed reader who has time at his disposal. Right. So feature article, it means called as just small articles which have come up with some kind of a storage, right? Um, they're timely and typical. It means called as when you start writing about feature article, you need a kind of a place where um, think about the kind of stories and connect each and every sentence one after another, right? So opinion article. So when you talk about opinion article, it means called as a on a particular issue, argumentative issues, where your means opinion, how logical and how coherence that matter the most. Even you would find out that it is a subjective opinion of the individual writer. So it doesn't make any kind of a it doesn't make any kind of a relation to the means others' sentiments. So they may accept it or they may not accept it. Writer is at liberty to express himself on any issue as long as it confines to the laws of the land. After this, yes, then after discussion, this is a presentation of the broadcast media. So um, it is a kind of a panel analysis in which a presenter or anchor person selects a topic together with experts to discuss the topic with on air. It is a popular program menu by most broadcasting stations. So what do we find out here actually? Means these are the things are clearly indicating about means how um, mass media works, right? And what are the things they generally or, or do to share the information. So discussion is a presentation of the broadcast media, like you would find out when in certain news channel mm, they make the kind of a debate, whether it's a Mirrors Now, Republic TV channel, or you talk about Times Now. So what do you find out? Every 9 or 10 o'clock, you would find out means they come up with certain topics. It is a kind of a panel, like they have taken the some political person, political activist, or called as sorry, political means analysis, or social activist, or called as a common person, in which means these are called as a panel, and even some of the other journalists from the other newspaper, in which a presenter or anchor person selects a topic together with experts to discuss the topic with an air. It is a popular program menu by most broadcasting stations. So people usually sit for seeing that debate, or hearing that debate. So that's known as a discussion. Talk is equally a broadcasting affair. So you would also find out these are certain examples which have been pointed. Talk is equally a broadcasting affair. It is one of the innovations of broadcast presentations. Here, the host engages the audience on an interesting topic. Such topics are usually emotional in nature. The host moderates the presentation of the participants. So, sometime also you would find out in a television means how one of the journalists or the anchor who means brings with a topic, and um, many other audience are sitting together, and they had a kind of a means discussion on a particular topic, but this one is completely different from this debate. Drama musicals are one of the popular presentation in broadcasting. So they constitute the bulk of the entertainment function and glamour of the broadcast media. Drama production is a basic function of the programs department. So drama musicals, you would find out that mm, uh, like certain new channels who come up with um, ideas of depicting, or called as a decorating a kind of a musical entertainment or drama uh, before the audience, right? So, and they constitute the bulk of the entertainment function. And glamour means, let's say that you would find out a kind of activity where it is given information about the Bollywood industry, Tollywood industry, Hollywood industries, right? And what kind of activities are going on there. So they're trying to share it in one after another. Now, cartoons, these are aspect of reporting that comes in artworks. So sometime also you would find out that how people are means, working behind the kind of a cartoon um, pictures, artworks, like children who see the kind of cartoon works like Motu Patlu, or you talk about Two Sisters, or you talk about DuckTales, or Mickey Mouse. You must have seen that. So these are the cartoons, but the kind of sounds, or the kind of a language that come out. So who do that? Means it's nothing but the uh, means actors or actress, or called as means um, those of the readers writers, somebody write it, somebody read it, somebody means articulate the kind of words. They are caricatures that go above amusement and laughter. So the way they are presenting, so that the artworks also work in the same manner, and people listen to that and they make the kind of amusement. Cartoons are presented by both print and broadcast media. Next is, so these are the things you would find out, called as a discussion, talk, drama, presentation, cartoons, opinion articles, feature articles, advertising or commercial, editorial commentary, message. So all these are nothing but the means, no, different activities that uh, that are done by mass media. So the next one you find out, letters to the editor. Like obviously we understand that means letters to the audience, editor is called as a job of the means audience. Means audience sometimes find out means certain activities are uh, means praiseworthy or called as a uh, like to them a lot. So that's why they write a letter to them. Like let's say that. Ramayana and Mahabharata during the pandemic time, most of the audience write later to the uh, DD News, DD DD channels to present that Ramayana and Mahabharata again and again. So and how means other entertainment means, what do you say, serials also to be presented. So it indicates that late and sometimes it happens. It doesn't restrict with the new. What do you say that TV channels? It also applicable in the newspaper. In newspaper also you read something and certain things that you find out wrong or called as a misspelled or called as a wrongly analyzed. So in that case you also share it to the editors. So here you find out an audience participatory presentation by the print media. Its equivalent in broadcasting is phone-in programs. So even sometime you would find out that people called to the programs on the spot. They are feedback oriented. That is, the readers and the viewers are given an opportunity to react to media presentation. So whether they liked it or whether they um, not. Uh, Essential elements of journalistic style of writing. Uh, so journalistic style of writing means now we are specifying to the particular more way of writing, right? So journalism, mass communication. So what one has to follow when one has to go for the means writing process. So the first thing is called as a content you must have. So second means how you correctly write that, and your accuracy. Accuracy means correctness. So third thing is called as a unity and coherence. Unity and coherence means whatever you are writing, so whether they are means making a kind of a connection with the one with the other, logical connection. Then clarity. Clarity means how clear you have written, no spelling error, no means distortion of the language. uh, Conciseness means again short, not like elaborating or giving a huge information, relevant, irrelevant, everything, examples, everything you mentioned. Credibility means so conciseness is called as a short, succinct. Credibility is called as to how truthful it is, whether you have means whether people know the truth or not. People mm, or a demand for the evidence, will you be able to give it or not? Emphasize. So you also present it in such a manner so that means people understand the beginning and the end. And objectivity. So what is the object of uh, means presenting that uh, report, right? So whether it is beneficial for the society, or it is a beneficial for one particular part of the society, or beneficial for one individual, or it is not at all necessary. Member of the print family include, so what are the members of the print family? You can talk about newspaper, magazines, newsletters, posters and brochures, books and pamphlets. So these are called as a members of the print family. So why it is called as a print family? Because you would find out, we uh, read those of the things in written materials, right? Um, Next is called as the qualities of a good mass media. Good mass media writer. Please do understand that it is not telling about good mass media. It is telling about qualities of a good writer, means who work in the mass media. So a good mass media writer must be astutely, means sharp, astutely conscious or knowledgeable of the deadline syndrome. So understand the means timeline with the official time given to the writer to turn his write-up for onward publication. So the first thing is called as a time, right? Um, so deadline, that one has to understand. That is the qualities of a good writer. Second is called as a good mass media writer must a student of human nature, a student of human nature, kindness. So that is the ability to see what others are not seeing concerning happening in the society. So first thing is called as a time. Second thing is called as a human nature. So to see the things that others cannot. Third is called as a good mass media writer must wield enough creativity, creative power. Creative power means you must have a good choice of words, good understanding of the content. So those are the things one has to write when making any kind of a content. A good mass media writer should be one who can function perfectly under pressure. So even means mass media writer can write certain things under pressure, means in a very small time period you have been asked to write a certain things and you write it uh, without having a kind of a means difficulty. Media operations are usually time bound, which is again pointed time deadline. A good mass media writer should possess speed and agility. So how quickly you uh, present certain things. Um, that's again indicating to the time duration. Okay. Okay. That's all for the day. Um, these are the things that you generally find out as a um, content to the mass media. Um, I hope you understand this, and if, means if you find out any kind of a doubts or query, you can ask me. Um, we will also discuss more about the things, but previous to that, let me give you some um, questions that generally you find out. Mm. So you may find out the kind of a question like uh, elaborate the job of the um, mass media, or means discuss the um, ideas behind the mass communication, or uh, you may also get the kind of a question like how is television means more effective than other media of mass communication. um, Even you find out what are some rules to be followed while writing scripts for radio broadcast. Mm. and um, how to develop the story, developing the story, and means what are the tasks that's supposed to be followed in broadcasting a message, means what are the means examples of print media and how do they work. Mm, so you find out these are the couple of questions that generally uh, hit to the exams. So on the basis of that, means you simply go through it. I hope it will helpful. Thank you.